And now comes the most important part of why you are watching the whole video series. How do I read literature? What are the approaches of reading literature, different literary forms, and how I make notes for entrance preparation? अरे ये क्या? You just wanted this. Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Nisha, and in this video, we're going to talk about exactly that. We're going to talk about how I prepared notes for my entrance preparation, how I know what I need to study for entrance, what is important, how I figured out the approaches that are necessary for reading literature, and this is it. This is it. Chalo, 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 video, chalo. It was a very, very long process, but yeah, I know the process now. In the previous video of this whole video series, part one, that is, I was talking about how I make in-class running notes and how I store it, modify it, curate it as per my own needs. Okay, now coming to how I read literature. See, now that I've studied too many things, like I've studied science till my class 12th, I've studied literature for 3 years now, and now I'm studying cultural studies. I've realized that studying different things require different approaches. For example, when you were reading science, वो सारा पॉइंट ओरिएंटेड होता था कि पॉइंट वन पॉइंट टू पॉइंट थ्री हाउ एंड वाई है ना, मच ऑफ डायग्राम बना लिया, प्रोसीजर होता था, उसमें एक एल्गोरिदम होता था. In literature, there's no much algorithm, and in fact in literature your approach changes with the form. If the form is different, your approach is different. For example, if you're reading poetry, if you're reading a poem, or you're reading a novel or a drama, your approach is different. It's basically because the basic unit is different. For poetry, the basic unit is the word. In fact, it goes deeper. The basic unit is a syllable, and the stress in drama, let's say, or in novel, the basic unit will be the dialogue, because here you are not concerned with the words but with the dialogues, and or with descriptions, or with the plot, the beginning, middle, and the end, the character development, the motives used. And so your approach changes. You're not here looking for stressed syllable or unstressed syllable, कि क्या rhythm है, क्या meter है. You're not doing that. Yes, novels can be poetic, but then you are not interested in the poetic nature of the novel. You're interested much into the narration, in the character development, as I said, in the plot, and you're drawing fragna, क्या होता था वो pyramid का नाम, whatever it is, you understand. Fragtang pyramid, भूल गई मैं सब. I'll have to study again सब कुछ. But yeah, this is what I'm saying. Your approach differs when you're studying different things. In cultural studies, as I'm doing right now, you're reading essays and critical works and ऐसे ही कुछ literary theories वगैरह पढ़ रहे हो. In literature as well, you are not concerned. Like in science, you know what you know, and what you're studying is the end there as per that. For example, if you're asked what is reflection, for a 8th class student, that is reflection. The amount of things that we are taught, it's enough that you know that, and that is what you would be asked to know. You're not expected to know much more, and if you do, that's good for you. But then yeah, if you go deeper into quantum mechanics and फिर फालतू, not फालतू, but then yeah, if you go on, it's your choice if you want to go on. But then there is a well bracket that what a 8th class student should know and what a 10th class student should know. The whole syllabus is compartmentalized, and this is not so when you're reading literature, because every sentence can have a different meaning, every word can have a multiple meaning. तो वहाँ पे there is no end limit. There is no end limit to your interpretation. There is no end limit to your critical readings. You can go on reading as much as you want, and still you may not feel satisfied. Still you may think कि ये समझ नहीं आया, इसमें कुछ और भी है. And it's perfectly normal to feel that. The problem comes when you think I need to know everything. The problem comes when you think कि बिल्कुल perfect होना चाहिए. You don't realize that it's a process. Everything in literature, at least I can say, in humanities too, I think, it's more about the process than reaching a destination. Science is my destination hai. This is what you should know. But in literature, you can go on with your own interpretation. Literature is not literature or cultural studies or whatever, literary theories, all these are not a one-time read, but it's a cumulative process. For example, you're reading a poem right now. The one process can be you start reading a poem and then you read many critical appreciations of the poem and you devise your own understanding. But then there are very great chances that while reading another work, not at all related to this poem, you'll have a certain realization that something that is there in this work relates to this poem. And you're like, कि, अरे ये क्या? And there you may have a different interpretation of the whole poem. And so it may happen that you become a professor, let's say, after years. And when you are teaching your students this particular poem, which you read as a student, some of your student may stand up and say, ma'am, what about this? Can this line not mean this? And you'll be like, yeah, exactly. It can. And this is the power of literature. You can go on. There is no correct, there is no incorrect, there is no right, there is no wrong. Everything is possible and everything is equally correct. Everything is equally incorrect. Everything is, it's not about being correct, being right. It's about being different, and you can go on with your own interpretation. And so reading literature, understanding literature, making notes for it is a very personal thing, according to me. But having said that, you asked me how I make my notes and I'll show you that. In this video, reading a poem or a drama would be too much. I'll make a separate video if you would want, how I read a poem and how I read a drama. But if in this video, I'll be talking more about how I read history of English literature. And it's been days, it's been months that I've done that. It was only for the entrance that I read history the last time. But now I know I need to start with my net preparation. So I think, yes, let's begin. Okay, so this is my Pramod K. Nair. I love him. I love him. No, like, I love this book. Yeah. I have a boyfriend. So I love this book. And see, Pramod K. Nair is a very easy book. It's a very easy read and interesting read. So you don't need to write here much कि तुमको ये लाइन समझ नहीं आया तो क्या आया तो तुमने वहाँ पे उसको एक्सप्लेन करके लिखा है या फिर ये लाइन इंपॉर्टेंट है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. प्रमोद के नाम में पूरी बुक ही इंपॉर्टेंट है एंड इट्स वेरी ऑब्जेक्टिव बुक, सो यू सी एवरीथिंग दैट इज देयर, so you need not, like, you know, लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. All I have done is I have highlighted some parts of the book, है ना, कुछ ऐसा कि this part is important, ऐसा ऐसा कुछ भी. So I have not written much on it कि I need to remember ऐसा कुछ करके. But then when it comes to Rutledge, I have scribbled all over the book because Rutledge में ना insights आते हैं आपको. See, प्रमोद के नायर में you have all the objective things ना, कि इसने ये लिखा, उसका छोटा सा summary और थोड़ा सा क्रिटिकल रीडिंग भी है, थोड़ा सा इंसाइट्स है कहीं कहीं पे, स्पेशली when you come to the rereading part, that is really interesting, but that doesn't come usually in the entrance. So yeah, this is how things go. तो इसको समझने के लिए you don't need to do much, है ना, कि ज़्यादा दिमाग लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है. You go on reading it simply, go with the flow, और ज़्यादा कुछ करती नहीं हूँ मैं इसके साथ. But then with Rutledge, I need to keep myself awake and I need to have a pen with me, उसको मेंशन करने के लिए कि ये यहाँ पे स्टार मार्क, यहाँ पे एक पॉइंट है, यहाँ पे एक पॉइंट है, ऐसा ऐसा करके I do that. And because I used to read literature for writing a subjective answer ना, तो वहाँ पे मुझे ऐसा याद रखना होता था कि इस पार्ट में he is talking about women in gender switching, how in Shakespeare there is gender switching. What does it show? It shows the inner repressed feelings of a woman, that she has to dress herself like a man to come up and say what she wants to say. Yeah, let's not go there. But this is what I love about Rutledge. It has insights and this is how I read Rutledge. मैं बहुत उस पर लिखती हूँ, हर पन्ने पे कुछ ना कुछ लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे. So this is what I do when it comes to Rutledge. तो यहाँ पे question marks भी है कि मुझे समझ नहीं आया कि यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है, ऐसा कुछ. So this is what I do. Now coming to how I make notes. See, as I told you, the approach differs. If I were making notes for writing subjective answers for history, the approach would have been different. I would have gone through critical readings and rereadings and such stuff. But now that I'm making notes for answering objective type answers for net preparation, for master's entrance, let's say, I write mostly in points. So, arrow डाल के 1 2 3 4 ऐसा Okay, and something similar is here as well. ऐसा arrows. And when it comes to writing the plot summary, so I like making these web kind of things. As you can see, this is the way of the world. The way of the world का पूरा यहाँ पे character और सारे characters, and then how the plot changes. So Mrs. Marwood secretly loves Mirabelle. Mirabelle loves Millamant. Millamant's aunt, Lady Wisfold. It is basically, if I need to simply understand the summary of the whole play, I don't need to go through the whole summary pura padho. I can simply look at this arrow diagram and then I can understand this. If you can see this, this is how I make these sort of notes. But first thing first, how do you know what to note? Like the English literature itself, I'm talking about British literature only, it's too vast. तो किस प्ले का समरी पढ़ना है, किसका नहीं पढ़ना है, how do you know this? It was a very, very long process, but yeah, I know the process now, and so it's easier now. What I basically do, like what I basically did in my second year, in the beginning of the second year, when I started making notes, it was much like I used to read 2-3 history books at the same time for a particular age. Let's say I'm starting with Victorian age. तो मैंने विक्टोरियन एज स्टार्ट किया फ्रॉम आई फर्स्ट रेड नायर so let's say मैंने विक्टोरियन एज स्टार्ट किया. I first read Nair, I read Luttridge, I read Compton Rickett, let's say, and while reading these, I made a mental note of what all writers are they talking about. Yes, there is always a chance of one being or a new writer being introduced in a book or ऐसा कुछ, but then mostly what writers are they talking about and what works of these writers are they talking about. When all 3-4 books are talking about a particular writer, you know that writer is important, and when they are talking about a particular work of that writer, you know that work is important, and so you know that you need to read the summary at least of that work. You're not expected to read the book or the drama or the poem. नहीं. Even net doesn't expect you to do that. इतना सब कुछ कौन पढ़ सकता है? It's not possible for a single human to do that. So yes it is, but then yeah, छोड़ो, मेरे लिए तो नहीं है भैया. It's important that you know कि तुमको क्या पढ़ने की ज़रूरत है. For that I would suggest you, as I said, read your history, then check out the important writers, important playwrights, important poets, and then their work, and then read their summaries and make their notes. This is what I did. It was a long process, I understand, but it is my process and it really helped me. So tried and tested hai. You can also do this. Other than that, if you don't want to go through all this, though I would suggest you to go through all this because it will only help you, because the more you will read, the more it will help your brain to get adapted to all the information and to like store it well enough. But still, if you don't want to do that, there are always certain sites. For example, there is arpitakarva.com or NetJRF preparation, where the whole syllabus is open for all. You don't need to pay for it, so you can see the syllabus, the structure that they are following. So just have a look at it, see how they have divided the syllabus, and accordingly you can also start your own preparation. And what is also important, that alongside this you solve question papers. When you'll be solving question papers, you'll know कि किस writer से कैसे questions पूछ रहे हैं ये लोग, किस work का पूछ रहे हैं, and then accordingly you can maintain your notes. For example, one thing I can show you, when solving these many question papers, I realized that most of the exams ask dates of particular things. सबके बारे में नहीं पूछते वो लोग कि बताओ ये writer कब पैदा हुआ था, नहीं. Only certain things of certain writers वो पूछते dates. तो that is why I made a list of the dates that are important, एंड इम्पोर्टेंट इन द सेंस कि ये क्वेश्चंस पूछे जा रहे थे, जैसे विक्लिफ का बाइबल कब लिखा वो पूछा गया, पीजेंस रिवोल्ट कब हुआ था वो पूछा गया, ब्लैक डेथ किसको कहते हैं कब हुआ, 100 years डेथ कब, 100 years वॉर कब हुआ, गुटनबर्ग का बाइबल कब पब्लिश हुआ, ये सब कुछ दे आस्क इन द क्वेश्चन पेपर्स. तो आई हैव मेड अ नोट ऑफ इट. तो आई ऑल आई नीड टू डू इज, मैं सिंपली, मुझे यही पढ़ने की जरूरत है अब, है ना. This is what I have done. So that helps. So nothing is wasted here. Whatever you do, whatever you're reading, कुछ भी कर रहे हो तुम, trust me, nothing is going waste. It's your process. It will take time for you to develop your own process, to understand how you study, how you read, how your mind works, but it will all amount to something. Trust me, it does. And when you're reading such vast materials, it's very okay to feel drowned and feel like you don't know anything. It's perfectly fine. It simply shows that you're trying new things, you're studying new things, you're doing your best, and it simply shows you're taking steps for your own self. Baby steps, leaps, but yeah, you need to go on. So this is the end of the video. I'm no expert, as I told you. I'm telling you things that worked for me. And as I said, learning is a very personalized process. And it is all about you. The more it is about you, the more helpful it will be, and the more you learn. If you try to copy paste someone else's process, it won't work. So it's important you indulge in yourself, take time, devise your own method, and go on. Having said that, it's always good to share things with other people, your process, your method, so it might help them as well. They might find it helpful and it might work for them as well. So it's always good. Yeah, then see you sometime later. Bye bye.